Hey everyone, just breaking in here right at the beginning of this episode. This is a Stranger Things episode, as you've already seen, but this is a bonus episode that was originally available to our Green Room members, and we're making this available exclusively just for this week to celebrate the release of Season 4, Volume 2. Now, if you do want to have a listen, you can go right ahead and you can go ahead and enjoy this episode. But we do ask that you consider membership. There are more episodes like this available on our membership feed. Actually, there are 50 episodes available on our membership feed, and it's only $5 a month. That fee is never going to change no matter how many episodes there's going to be. So if you do like to listen to this kind of stuff, if you do like this episode, or if you just want to support the show, which we ask that you do kindly, that would be amazing. We have no sponsorships, no advertising, nothing like that. We're completely independent, and we're run by our listeners. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and please consider membership. If you do want to consider membership, head to patreon.com/midnight double feature. That's Patreon, patreon.com/midnight double feature. Thank you so much and enjoy.
They can't help you, Max. There's a reason you hide from them. You belong here with me.
You're not really here.
Oh, but I am, Max. I am.
What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Green Room, the one and only spot for all your Midnight Double Feature exclusive Patreon bonus content. Here we are talking about Stranger Things Season 4, Part 1, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Volume 1, I think is what they call it.
Volume 1. Yeah. Thank you. And there's the voice of reason here, Zohab Ali. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, dude. How you doing? I'm ready to talk some Stranger Things, man.
Yeah, me too. I have always been a big fan of Stranger Things. You know me, I'm not a fan of television, but I have watched
all movies,
the show
or any like media at all.
Yeah, I hate most things and people. No, but Stranger Things I unabashedly love. I've got Stranger Things video game. I've got Stranger Things Monopoly. I've got a lot of T-shirts and pops and stuff. So I was really excited to talk about this episode going in because we've never talked about Stranger Things. In 4 years, we have never. And that is an itch I've wanted to scratch so bad because I love this show. But the opportunity just never arose to talk about it. And now here we are, actually, giving it a go. So, guys, again, thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for, tuning in and being members of the Green Room. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, feel free to also give us your thoughts on this season so far, or your predictions maybe for the final 2 episodes. What is it coming out? July 4th, I think. So here,
something like that. Yeah, very, very soon. Yeah. So the reason why they do this, because Better Call Saul did it as well. So Better Call Saul is in its final season and it's splitting it in half. Is so they can qualify for Emmys. It's something to do with the Emmy race. I think it's all about relevance. So like when you're during the voting time of the Emmys, you want to be relevant. It's the same reason why Coda won Best Picture last year, kind of thing. Like because it was very relevant at the time, people were talking about it, and it won. So yeah, I think it's an Emmy thing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because you dump everything out before, maybe you fall, because so much television comes out now and there's a lot of competition. So I bet you just kind of keep it relevant, even if it is a 3-week, because what? No. What did this come out? May 27th or 31st or something? Came out just a few weeks ago. Roughly like 280 million hours were binged in one weekend. For
I think it was the
all
27th because it was the same day as Obi-Wan.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. It is the 27th. I remember that. So what did you think of volume 1 so far?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So Colin is a great host because he didn't give me a chance to talk about Stranger Things in general and whether I like it or not. And so thank you very much for that.
I don't give a shit about that. You're talking about season 4, baby.
I'm a fan. I think I'm not on the same level as you. I think when it pops up, I really enjoy it. I hate to be that guy, but I was a kind of an early adopter of this show when it came around. I remember scrolling through Netflix one day, and it must have just been added, that first season. Like, it must have just appeared, and I was like, okay, look, this looks cool. And I started it, and I didn't stop talking about it, because I love Super 8, I love Spielberg, I love, like, that Amblin style. You got kids in the 80s riding around on bikes and science fiction and horror. And I was like, this show is something else. And I told everyone about it. And then it blows up a week later. And I was like, damn, okay, all right, cool. That first season really intrigued me. And I really loved Martin Brenner as a character. Is it Martin Brenner? Martin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like Brenner. I think Matthew Modine is really terrifying and heartfelt at the same time. He feels very 3D. Like, he doesn't feel two-dimensional at all. Like, he just feels like someone who initially comes in as sort of like the heavy and someone who Eleven is afraid of and you should be afraid of as the audience member. So he was kind of carrying me through it. I was like, damn, this guy's awesome. And then the second season didn't hit as hard for me, other than the Samwise Gamgee death. I wasn't really feeling the demo dogs. That wasn't really my thing. But season 3 came back, man, and that fucking hit hard. That season 3 was incredible to me. I loved. I think it's Doc Ray Montgomery as Max's brother. I forgot his name now.
No, yeah. I don't know how the fuck to pronounce that. So yeah, right. I think he's Australian though, so I'd go with it.
I think he is Aussie. Yeah. But he was awesome. He was a great addition. I like seeing a kind of an actual out and out bully sort of thing. And I liked Max. I didn't love her until her big moment in this season in Volume 1. And I was like, okay, look, season 3 is pretty awesome. I like the mall stuff. I like the addition of the Russians. I like the whole Cold War aspect of it too, because it is the 80s and you need to address that sort of stuff. I thought 11 was really good in season 3. And obviously that ends with the end of Hopper, with the death of Hopper, or so it seems. So season 12 rolls around, and it's been 3 years, right? So 3 years since, because that came out in 2019, season 3 did, and then this year. So 3 years, and we literally kind of needed a bit of a recap. We needed to watch,
for sure.
We full watched the Netflix recap when it started, and But when I say we, obviously I mean Steph and I, but like, we're watching it and see, episode 1 hit really hard. Like we were like, oh shit, man! Like we're back in this. Like the atmosphere is incredible. You've got the that young woman dying in that caravan in that horrible way at the end of it, and you got the introduction of I'm so sorry. Is it what's his character's name again? The one who's on the run this season of the leader of the Hellfire Club. I forgot his name already.
Oh, Eddie Munson.
Yes, I really liked Eddie. I really like immediately. Like we were talking about this, Colin, off air. Like when we were watching it, we loved Eddie pretty much from the go, from jump. Like he is very like in your face, like he's acting like really big, like like he's
Right.
not like a part of the ensemble. But sorry, but I wonder if it's by design, sort of thing. So, and like the actor is just like really in it. Like, his facial expressions are great, and like the editing is top notch. The cinematography is top notch. And these are like longer episodes, so like you should feel tired by the end of it. But like, honestly, man, I just wanted to roll on. Like, let's keep going. Like, it's just perfect bingeable TV. But overall, I thought Volume 1 was really good, like really strong. I wouldn't put it up there with season 1. I think it's on par with 3. It's way better than 2. But I thought it was a really incredible season that pays homage to Nightmare on Elm Street and Carrie and The Thing, and it uses great practical effects, and it feels like we're finally starting to get answers about the Upside Down and what it is, and I kind of like criticize the Duffer Brothers just a little bit for holding on to that for maybe a bit too long. Like I feel like now that we're getting answers, I'm a little bit more invested.
Right.
I think they might have like pulled the taffy just for a little bit too long, but I really enjoyed the reveal. By the way, this is going to be spoilers all the way through. So if you haven't seen,
oh yes, 100%, right,
season 4, volume 1, we're going to go right into it. I think the reveal of the way the Upside Down was formed, and you've got this Vecna character throughout the entire season, kind of like being the heavy, and then the revelation of who he is. I kind of called it. Again, I hate to be that person, but I was like, we were like, I think on episode 2 or something, and I was like, I really wonder who number 1 is. And then they start introducing this guy kind of thing, and I was just like, all right, that's 1. Like that has to be 1. And then I mean, like I didn't connect the 1 being Vecna. Like that was pretty cool. But I think the horror elements in this particular season are amped up to 11. And I pardon the pun. And I really appreciated it this time around. I'm absolutely stoked for Volume 2. God knows Netflix are pumping so much fucking money into this show. I believe the budget for each episode is $30 million. I believe.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've heard. What is there, 7? I guess there would be 9. That's $270 million.
Yeah, and don't forget that this is also not the last season.
Right. Well, and they also, it's like, come on, dude. The second this show ends, there's going to be their fucking
spin-offs.
viewership is going to drop. Like,
there'll be spin-offs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I see, but even the spinoffs, I don't know. I think they'll bring people back when they actually start doing it, but I think it's going to take a while. They're like you said, they kind of pull that taffy a lot. And I think that they drop season 5, and in a year you might get a spinoff.
Right?
Like it's not going to be like how fast Loki came out after like Endgame. It ain't going to be that quick.
But also, like Better Call Saul is also not as popular as Breaking Bad. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just not.
Right.
Like the quality, in my opinion, is way up there with Breaking Bad, but it's like you're not going to get that same viewership from that main story.
Then the shoes that would have to fill, to get that level of viewership back is insane. But is that your thoughts on Stranger Things 4?
I mean, like that was my thoughts, kind of like overarching thoughts. We can kind of get into specifics in terms of like story beats and character development, whatever, if you want to. But that was my overall thoughts on season 4, volume 1. I thought it was really solid. Everyone I talked to has really enjoyed it. My best mate Damien, who doesn't like you, doesn't watch a lot of TV. He won't shut up about it. So yeah, like it's a. But yeah, is it episode? What episode? It's 4, right? The one with Max's big moment.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm watching now. Yeah, it's episode 4. I've got it on in the background.
I mean, that's the big moment of the season outside of the final kind of sequence in the last episode. So do you want to talk about that? Because that was a moment, man. Yeah,
for sure. I tell you, let me give you my thoughts, then we can jump into that.
Yes.
That's kind of that's kind of the talking about being a bad host. You schmuck, you fucking bogan.
I'm not even the host.
I know, you bad guest. What a whore. But yeah, so far I like this season a lot. I think I can echo a lot of the same things you said. Like, they're never gonna reach that very first season of popularity. I mean, just the fucking mania that was around that when that came out was just insane. And don't get me wrong. Excuse me. Don't get me wrong. I think people were plenty excited to see the show again come back, but I feel like at the same time it had been so long and it had started to feel formulaic, especially after the second season. I mean, if you drank every time somebody had like an aha moment in this series, you would die of alcohol poisoning, right? And I do feel like that is. But not only that, I do have a.
Sorry to interrupt. Like there's a moment in season 1 that I'll never forget, and I'll never have that feeling with the subsequent seasons. Is like the surprise of how brutal this show is going to be. Like in that moment where Eleven walks into that diner and that guy's helping her out, and he's so sweet and kind, and he just gets absolutely murdered by Brenner's guys. I was like, man, like this is what we're in for. What the fuck? Like, I will never get that moment again with any of the other seasons. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, actually, and I got to meet that actor at a convention. Nice. He's a really nice guy. Really, really. And what was his name? Mr. Randy something, whatever the teacher's name is. We got to meet him as well. He was really nice. But I think that the show, that if I do have a complaint about the show as a whole, is that it's so formulaic off of those, like everybody puts pictures together and there's, you got to go here to do this, to do that. And then it reveals the full picture. And I think that does work to an extent, but season 5, they really need to swap that up. I think they really need to get away from the whole, like, there's nothing wrong with splitting the main group into teams, which they kind of do every season. I'm okay with that. That's cool. It's interesting. But at the same time, I feel like this whole, like, everybody putting pieces together and just, you have these revolving shots where everyone's like, and then what if you blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, dude, God damn it. We do this like every episode and it is fun at first, but now I am getting tired of it, but it's part of like, it's almost like accepting the tropes of the genre. It's like, whatever. This is just kind of something I'm like when Max started drawing pictures of the house and then Nancy started putting them all together. It's like, we literally did this our second season. We are literally doing this again. And the Duffer Brothers have straight up said, like, like we didn't want to run that into the ground. We were hesitant to do it a second time, but we went ahead and did it anyways. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, you should not have done that. You should have done something else. I was like, I don't know. I'm getting a little burnt out on those kind of moments in the show. But other than that, I think it's great they're stopping at 5 seasons. Thank fucking God. I really don't mind them having spinoffs. I'm just curious as to what they'll be. But so far, I think I really like season 2. Especially with 11 closing the gate. It's one of my favorite moments in the whole show. Just the music is called Levitation, obviously by Michael Dixon and Kyle. I forgot his name. But I actually have the first season.
It's Michael Stein, Kyle Dixon.
Michael Stein and Kyle Dixon. There you go. I got them crossed up. I do have the first season soundtrack on vinyl. I love that soundtrack very much. I love Kids. The ba ba ba
I love Kids.
That is, I have covers of that downloaded in my YouTube history. Just it's so good.
When it starts in season 4, episode 1, I was like, yes, let's go. Mm-hmm. We are back, baby. We're back.
If you go back and you watch that first episode and you see Will leaving Mike's and he's like, oh, I really rolled a something. And he's like, I just didn't want to lie. And he starts pedaling off, and you get that. It's like, you really, and he beats Dustin in that bike race. That's when you're really like, holy shit, this show has me like fucking knuckle deep. If this show is fingering me, it is fucking wrist deep right now. Like, I am so enamored.
Past my wedding ring.
Yeah. But third season, I did like it pretty good. I like the fact that the thing from the Upside Down had a physical form in the third season, which I thought was cool. It was a little Pennywise-ish, like basically while Pennywise takes the form, and that's in the book. I think more so than the show or the movie or anything with it was that while he's in the physical form, he has to. Right. Well, not even that. There's a part in the book where he takes the form of a werewolf, and they shoot him with a silver bullet, and it fucks him up. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's cool. So it's like, if you take the physical form of something, you have to abide by the laws of whatever that thing is.
Nice.
I don't
think you need to be like you need to be like a rocket scientist to see where the Duffer Brothers are pulling off like their inspiration, right? Like you said with with season 3, and this season is very obviously Nightmare on Elm Street related. I mean, like, even to the point that they have Robert Englund in the cast, like,
right, for sure. And I think the whole reason that Matt and Ross Duffer ended up doing this show is because they were turned down for it. I think they got rejected. Yeah, Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers got rejected by Warner Brothers to make Stephen King's It remake. And that's where they're like, all right, fuck it. We're just going to start, we're going to do this show called Stranger Things. And, it's original enough, but it's if you pulled a lot of those montages out of the show, like 70% of the show would be gone. But the 30% that would still be there would be a fucking really cool story. Yeah. It's still very X-Men. It's still very, it's basically, this whole season has been First Class versus Freddy Krueger, and I think that's fucking cool. But the fourth season so far, I think, is, I don't know. I need to go back and watch the previous season. Nothing is ever going to top one. I think the third season is really rock solid, especially with 11 losing her powers. That was a very cool angle to play.
Favorite things, because, like, I mean, how else do you create tension? Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it's, I think they do a really good job of that. But this one,
I also really enjoyed her moments with Hopper in the forest lodge.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, the
abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And I think one of the best things about this season is how they balance all of the teams. I think they do a really good job cutting back and forth. I've seen some people be like, dude, you could cut Will and Mike and Jonathan from this season.
They basically are cut. I mean, you don't see them in the final episode at all.
Right. And it seems like, that the reason shit got kind of like, and from what I've read is that David Harbour, his story got shifted around because of Black Widow, and that they were like, yeah, some things were a little too close to like the whole Russian prison thing.
Did they shoot at the same prison? Like, seriously?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It looks very similar.
I swear to God, they shot at the same prison. If you like tilt the camera to the right a little bit, there's the MCU fucking stage.
Yeah, there's like Florence Pugh and fucking Scarlett Johansson in the background drinking Starbucks.
What I wanted to ask you, actually. What did you think about the separation of the teams this time around? Because this is, I guess, the first season where there's so much distance between each of the groups. Usually you're all pretty much inside Hawkins, whereas like now we've got a Hawkins team, we've got a California team, we've got a Russia team. What do you think about like the way they balance that? Because I kind of did think that some were more interesting than others, and like when we cut back to the less interesting ones, like the kind of like the one with Will, I wasn't really interested in Will and his team's sort of storyline in California.
Yeah, I don't. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't think it takes anything away. It doesn't add, it doesn't add a shit ton, but it's more so what's happening between, the core of the show is still going on in Hawkins, and that's where the heart and really a lot of the story shit that's going on. Like, I like Hopper's story. I think it's fine. But if it takes Will and Mike and Jonathan being there to get that shootout, then it's worth it for the whole fucking season.
That was so good.
That shootout is dude.
The single take.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and it just kicks off. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fucking like no-name agent who I had to Google up and down the earth to find, I think it's Agent Harris or something. That guy is just laying motherfuckers out, and just because at first you're like, oh, these guys are a couple of fat cat like couch potatoes, and then when shit hits the fan, yeah, and then when shit hits the fan, it's like, dude, these guys. My favorite part is he starts slapping that clip in. And he's like, all right, I shoot, you move, and just starts walking and laying guys out and gets shot multiple times and just keeps going. And what's interesting about that kind of character, that guy's like one of my favorite characters in the whole season, because he just came out of nowhere and just started annihilating. And it's like, at this point, Dr. Owens, who's Paul Reiser, that must be, he's gone rogue, basically. He's been fired. He must have a group of people that are just loyal to him. And I love the fact that it's basically like they can't be bought, like they're not a part of the government. It's like, no, I believe in what Dr. Owens is doing. And I think that's really, really interesting to the point that this guy gave his life for it. Is really fucking interesting, and that there's people out there willing to die for Dr. Owens is very fucking interesting.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
but I did think that we spent a little too much time with Brenner and 11, kind of like re going through their memories, sort of thing. Like I was like, what are we doing here? I know that's the crux of the story, but they pulled it for a little bit long, and I was like, okay, all right.
I think that's fair. I think they were just trying to build up, and I think what you're saying is totally right. And the only way I can justify it or even give an excuse for it is it's like, yeah, I guess they were trying to build up to what that moment was. But I really thought it was going to be something, horrendous, like, it's not like, this whole thing. He's like, we're trying to reintroduce your trauma, 11. And it's like, I don't like, I could understand if she had like split her mommy's guts open when she was coming out as a kid, something crazy. But all she did was she was naively manipulated. It's like she didn't really do anything wrong. So it's like, she didn't really kill all these people. It's like, yeah, she might have, sent him to the Upside Down, and yeah, she might have freed him, but she was manipulated into doing that. And that's one thing I heard, that the Duffer Brothers, speaking of the Upside Down, that they were straight up saying like, yeah, we might not ever even explain what the Upside Down is. And I was like, yeah, that's a dumb idea. I think you're going to piss a lot of people off doing that. This isn't, the rabbit's foot from Mission Impossible 3. It's like, this is not some small thing to just throw to the side. And I like that they are now kind of explaining things. But at the same time, like it leaves a lot of questions as well, which is also fun. Like, because when you see Vecna, Henry Krill get sent back, the Upside Down is already there. It's just not what we know. It's like a prehistoric looking, it's just rocks, and shit. So whatever it is already there. And then it's not until Will gets sent back that all time freezes and shit. So I'm really curious as to what the deal is with that. I know Chernobyl is coming up, I think either this year or the next in the timeline. Because what is this, 86? I think Chernobyl was 86.
87. Oh, yes, 86. Okay. All right. Yeah.
And it's like March. I think in the show it's like March 22nd, March 25th. And then a month after that is when Chernobyl happens. So it's like maybe they're getting close to, that kind of thing. I already know the Duffer Brothers have said, like, yeah, it's not going to. Like the last two episodes are going to gun punch you, and we're not wrapping things up with a nice, pretty little bow. Like, we're not going to do the thing we've done before where like everybody goes their separate ways and everything's fine. It's going to be a bit of a downer. I was like, well, I mean, that's very Empire Strikes Back, I guess, Yeah.
Well, Steph and I were talking about it before we started watching the season, and we were like, someone needs to go this season. You can't have
for sure. Somebody is.
Yeah, you can't have a 4-season streak of just everyone surviving. And I'm not saying like everyone, like, I mean, obviously we had Max's brother dying. We had Sam from whatever, from Lord of the Rings die. I forgot his name, character's name in the show.
Bob?
Bob, how can I
What a
forget?
cunt.
Bob and Barb.
Bob Newby.
Right? Yeah. But like, you know, those are characters that are introduced in those seasons that are dying. I'm talking like the, you know, the big, what is it, 5 or 6 characters that we are actually emotionally invested in.
Right.
As much as I love him, get rid of Harrington. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is
A lot of people are saying that's what's going to happen.
That
A
would
lot
be
of
the
people
gut
are
punch.
speculating.
That would be the gut punch.
Yeah.
Either him, and I really, really hate to say it because he's my all-time favorite character in the show, or Hopper. Get rid of Hopper. But I think I don't think they're gonna.
I don't think
they're
gonna
get rid of Hopper after the end of season 3. You know what I mean? So
no, I think you know it's either going to have to be, you know, Jonathan, Nancy, or it's not going to be one of the kids. Netflix just doesn't have the balls to do that. They're not going to do it. Even if the Duffer Brothers wanted to, and they're like, oh, we're going to kill off Mike, it'd be like, no, you're not. Like, this is a child, you know, a 14, somebody playing a 14 or 15-year-old kid.
I reckon. I think there's room there. I think Netflix they've been breaking ground with this show, right? I mean, like, if there is a show to break ground on, it is this one.
I don't think so. I don't think Netflix. Even I'm not saying the Duffer Brothers wouldn't want to. I'm just saying that even after, you know, like the school shooting that just happened recently, because of that, they put a warning at the beginning of the first episode because there was going to be violence to children. I was like, dude, then there's no way that Netflix is going to let them kill the kid. Like, even if that's like Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, is fucking 20 years old playing like a 14 or 15-year-old kid, and they're still not going to kill him off. I think it's going to have to be Robin or, you know, Harrington or somebody.
Meanwhile, Obi-Wan that premiered that same day, the first scene is Execute Order 66, and it's literally just kids getting killed, dude. That was that day.
That's fucking, oh my God. Talk about fucking timing.
Right. Dude, someone I really wanted to talk about. Can we talk about Brett Gelman, man? Because, like, the
yeah. Is that Murphy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Murray.
Murray. Thank you. Sorry. You get my wife's name right.
You come back here and you fuck my wife.
Jesus Christ, that's like 15 miles away. It's so fucking good, man. Christina,
who wants some Arnold Palmies? Arnold Palmies alert.
His best part, and by the way, guys, this is the other guys, in case you don't know what the hell it is.
The other guys.
It's so fucking funny where he's wearing like the white turtleneck talking to Mark Wahlberg, and he was like, you'd think because of the beard, I'm really hairy. He's like, but everything else, shaved smooth. Dude, and he's like, dude, Alan?
The way he's got, he does his thing with this wrist, he's like, shaved.
Yes, I love it. And he's like, Alan? He's like, they're fine. Don't worry about them. No,
like,
yeah, he
like,
is.
She's like, I've done things with you that I've never done with anyone since. And she points at him, and he's like,
you're a lucky dog. It's like, oh, dude, it is ball tinglingly crunchy. Like,
it's so cringy, but it's absolutely brilliant, man. That movie's perfect. But anyway, I really enjoyed him this time around. Like, I think, you know, previously he's been really funny. But like, this was the season where I was just like, you know, they let him go for, you know, they kind of like let him loose. Like, you know what I mean? Like with all the Taekwondo stuff, they really, really let him loose. But I really enjoyed it. You know, I really like the fact that he was proficient at Taekwondo or karate or whatever it was.
Right.
You know, I was really kind of like getting ready for the beat of like him trying to square up to the guy and like him like absolutely sucking at fighting. Right. But like, I loved that he was like really good at it. Like that was such a good...
I thought it was going to be like Seinfeld when Kramer, you know, takes karate with the kids and they all just beat the shit out of him in the alley. I really thought that's the way. Like you, I thought that's exactly where it was going to go. But he's basically filling it for Hopper this season, if you really think about it. Like he's the male 40-year-old with a beard, you know, tagging
kind of
along
disappointed
with
Hopper's. We'll talk about Hopper, but I didn't love his thing so far this season. I mean, he's just kind of like sitting in one spot, not doing much. I mean, but that's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can jump into it because like Murray, it's like, I don't really have a lot to say besides like, yeah, I like him a lot. I think it's interesting, you know, not seeing him just be like, I'm in like the hacker nerdy guy who has all the info. I like what they're doing with Hopper, but I just feel like they really They fucked a lot of that shit up. They showed him alive way too early. Even the post credits season 3 thing was just like such a fuck up, man. I was like, I think it would have been interesting, if there would have been some possibility, because they show that thing. They're like, no, not the American or whatever. And it's like, well, obviously people are thinking that's Hopper. I was like, man, maybe it's Brenner, maybe Brenner has been in Russia, or something. I don't know. This could be something else. But everyone, was like 90% sure this was Hopper. And then the first teaser comes out like a year ago. Yeah. And there's Hopper front
it came
center.
out in 2020. That's when that trailer came out.
Jesus. So for 2 years, we've known that Hopper's going to be alive. And it's like, it just takes away any emotional, like if they had shown that first episode and Hopper had popped up, I wouldn't be like aghast. But if they would have saved that teaser reveal for the first episode, I think I would have enjoyed that a lot more, because his death in season 3 is basically meaningless now. When did season 3 came out? Was it 2018, 2019, and then less than a year later, you have a trailer showing that character is still alive. You fucking shit the bed on that one, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I really, really did not like that. It just felt like you dangled a carrot that I was just so, and then, 2 seconds later, I got it. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel genuine.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's correct. It like makes it feel disingenuous, and like, now we don't really have, if we were to rewatch season 3, we don't really have an emotional connection to that final sort of sacrifice that Hopper does at the end.
Right.
It's kind of like it's really baffling, like the marketing for that. I mean, like, why would you? I wonder if it's a Netflix thing and not a Duffer Brothers thing. But then, like, now that I think about it, like the reveal that Hopper is alive happens really early in episode 1 of season 4.
Right.
So
why not just save it,
Yeah, like, it's just a strange beat. I would have loved Joyce just receiving like that box with all the Russian shit all over it, and then it's like, okay, what is this? And then, kind of like keeping the mystery going from there, rather than like, we immediately know that it's from Hopper via the guard.
Right. Right. And I like what they're doing. I like the whole thing with this guard who is frenemies with Hopper. I like the fact that, that there's this kind of like hierarchy there, that there's a snitch who is kind of getting people in trouble, and there's this Yuri guy. I like it. I think the second season has a lot of explaining to do of why the Russians have a Demogorgon.
Volume 2?
Or second.
Oh,
yes, volume
5?
2. Sorry.
It's only 2 episodes.
Right, it's only 2 episodes. I've seen a little bit of the trailer. It does show them in that Russian prison looking at demodogs and like tubes and shit. Okay. It's like, okay, so there's definitely going to be something coming up. But I feel like, now they really, 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 as far as where the show is going, they really, really need to start explaining shit and kind of, I think they are heading that way. Once Nancy was like, hey, the Upside Down is stuck on November 6th, 1983, like whenever Will went back. Actually, I'm going to Google and see if I was right on that. If they really need to start having some kind of explanation, and I feel like they've left some pretty good clues. They show Vecna as a kid spinning that clock backwards and stuff. So I think he's just holding time for some reason. I don't know. It's like, why didn't everything lock in place the second Vecna went back as a kid? Yeah. Or as when he was 1? Like, what's the point,
Absolutely. Something else I wanted to mention to anyone who's seen Game of Thrones, the guard that helps Hopper, he was from Game of Thrones. He was kind of like the assassin that Arya kind of like got into with. Something that I wanted to raise, if we are talking sort of like predictions for where this is going, and I called it, man. Like, if this ends up being a thing, the school counselor. I thought the school counselor was a little suspicious because, like, the first 2 deaths are people who the counselor has seen or has like kind of like counseled. So like, obviously there's the young, I forgot her name, Chrissy. I think it's Chrissy. The girl
something like that. The cheerleader.
Yes, the cheerleader. We see her coming out of the counselor's thing, and then someone else I'm struggling to remember now. Who gets killed as well? Fred. Yeah. But then
not Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, right. But then like there's also like the counselor I think has a necklace of a clock or like, you know, like something from the clock.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
heard
just
that.
like it's like, well, I was like theorizing with Steph, if Vecna, I mean, like it seems like Vecna was going for people who are deeply traumatized, like Max.
Sure.
And, you know, people who have seen some shit. So like, you know, here's Max and here's Chrissy and here's Fred, like, you know, confiding in this counselor who knows everyone's trauma. And it's just like it's just interesting. Like I really wonder if they're going to connect the threads there, if there is a thing there. I really hated Chrissy's boyfriend. Hated. There was a moment.
Oh yeah, John Walker, Captain America.
Dude, there was a moment when like the cops are like doing this press conference, and not even a press conference, just like in front of the parents, right? And the cops are like, you know, we're gonna institute a curfew, whatever. And like the boyfriend walks in from the back of the room, walks down the center of the thing, and starts like speaking to the parents, starting to create like a commotion and all this shit, like actually causing panic. And the cops just stand there and just let him talk. Like,
right.
What the fuck are you doing,
like,
dude?
I love what he represents, and because they straight up said, I think that West Memphis 3 is an inspiration for Eddie Munson, and that there is this kind of like
paranoia.
You know the West.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There is this like satanic panic of like what the hell is going on, and I like what he represents, and I like that. But I feel like, yeah, maybe in that situation, I think it's executed a little shakily. But I love that they've been leading up to this. Guy has been on so many episodes, and they show, you know, he's the blonde hair, blue eyed Jason of the 80s. Like, come on, like that's, you know, we know so many people like that. And I think that there's a great genuineness to him, that he is a good guy and he does want people to be safe, but he's using fear as a motivator, you know, and that's only, I actually think he's going to be a prime suspect for Vecna, because he's in this total mourning and guilt of what the fuck has happened to Chrissy. Or Chrissy, whatever the fuck her name is. You know, he's kind of in this mourning of whatever has happened to her. So I think he's going to be, you know, prime pickings for Vecna as well. But I kind of felt the same way though about Eddie when they first show Eddie and he's walking on the cafeteria, and it's like, dude, I just wanted someone to pick up a spoonful of mashed potatoes and deck him like head to fucking belly button with it, be like, shut up, queer. Like that's not that I agree with that saying, but that is definitely like, if you stood up on a high school cafeteria table in the 80s and were like, we're going
you're a very well-known sadist.
Yeah, I am, absolutely. But I, you know, growing up as a kid who played Yu-Gi-Oh! And was a Dungeons and Dragons type kid and played a lot of video games and played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like
Pokemon
if I had
cards?
jumped up on my if I'd have jumped up on my cafeteria table and started talking like this, I'm gonna be like, sit down, fucker. You know, like there would be some kind of like repercussion for it. But I feel like Eddie, you know, I was like, calm down, dude. This ain't Glee, motherfucker. You know, you ain't Jack Sparrow. You know, but once they got past that, because he comes in really strong, and then they back off of him very quickly, and I loved that. I think they realized very quickly that if we keep pushing this guy, this is gonna, you know, he's gonna be a little bit too much.
It's gonna be too much. Yeah.
Once she gets snapped like a pretzel, though, his scream is like one of the best parts. I mean, it is unbelievably genuine. He is selling the fuck out of that fear, you know. And I was like, whoa, this guy is really. And I hope they don't kill him off. I kind of, if somebody has to go, the emotional resonance is going to be Steve Harrington, because, like you said, if we just keep setting up these characters to be killed off the season they're shown, it doesn't really help any, unless it's like Robin or something, you know. I think it could be Robin.
I mean, like, you know, it makes perfect sense for Steve Harrington to go, especially when you've got, God damn it, what's Natalie Dyer's character name? Why am I forgetting?
Nancy.
Yes, especially when you've got this Nancy Steve Harrington reconnection sort of happening. It'll make perfect sense for Steve to go, like right now. Like
definitely,
yeah,
100%. But other than that, I think the big moment and kind of one of the final things I want to talk about was Run Home Max is what I like to call it now.
Nice.
From well, you've never seen Hook, have you?
I have. It gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Oh, thank God. Okay, good.
I haven't seen it in decades.
No. But the part that all I could think of was when Jack goes to play baseball on Hook, and they're trying to say home run Jack, and they swip the cards up, and it's run home Jack.
I do remember.
And I was like, oh, and that's all I could think of was like run home Max, like run.
Yeah.
Oh, and at first, I'll be honest, like you said, I was not hot on Max or Sadie Sink when this. I was like, okay, listen, your eyebrows can't do the majority of your acting. Calm down. I was like, and B, like, there's nothing
I just
wrong
hate
with.
redheads. I just can't deal with redheads.
Yeah, disgusting, inferior genes,
No soul.
yeah, no soul, burden on society.
Right.
But the I didn't like, I like where Max was, but I felt like Sadie Sink was being like very two-dimensionally moody and like aggressive. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy what she was doing.
I agree. It seemed like that she was just like kind of, there's a character like this in almost every 80s ensemble, like the really quiet, self, like the introvert sort of character.
Right. And the thing is, Max is a really cool character set up in season 2, was showing that she can hang with the group, and she is fully, capable, especially once you have a brother like Billy. Obviously she's going to know how to handle herself. And I liked seeing her kind of reduced to, not really knowing what's going on. And yeah, I was like, wait, she's just taking like Tylenol at school. Like, what are we doing here, man? Is this like the Saved by the Bell when they get addicted to caffeine pills for like one episode, but once they actually, they stuck with it, and I saw a little bit more of Sadie Sink. I think it wasn't until she started hearing the clock that I feel like Sadie Sink really kind of started putting into work. She was kind of I just didn't love her performance in that. It wasn't awful, but it didn't really, ring anything home to me. But then once she actually starts like writing the letters and starts kind of opening a little bit more, she has a great scene with her mom. Dear Billy's got to be, probably top 3 scenes in the whole series. There's very few that have come even close to that. I don't know. It might be the best scene the series has put out.
Yeah.
You have 2 of them with the shootout and with this. You have 2 incredible scenes just in one season alone that are topping a lot of shit that's going on in other seasons.
Sean Levy, man, like Sean Levy was the director. Like he's kind of like he's worked on the show since season 1, and he's a massive film director, directing Free Guy and The Adam Project and Real Steel and fucking Cheaper by the Dozen and all this shit, man. Like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and I think that obviously the choice of the music, you could say it's a little cheesy, like she fought off Vecna with the power of love, and it's like, well, I mean, kind of like music can strike such an incredible chord with you. It can put you in a different time, in a different place. And I bought that, this was able to say things that the song is able to say things that she's not able to say. And once she actually starts lifting off the ground and the music kind of picks up, the only thing I don't like is that I can't find this version anywhere. It's all the original. Not that there's anything wrong with not that there's anything wrong with the original one, but it has that and it has the strings that come in. The imagery of her running to the portal and stuff is unbelievable. It's some of the best imagery the show's produced, I think. And just the if someone had put that on a poster and it was just the shot of her running towards the portal and you saw the 3 kids staring up at her body floating, it's like, dude, that I would have flipped. I would have blown a gasket. I mean, we are seeing that fucking movie. And also kind of, I think one thing that's great about that scene is they start showing all these flashbacks from season 2 onward of her first dating Caleb McLaughlin God, what is this fucking character's name? Lucas. Which, by the way, he apparently wanted the number 8 because Kobe had died. And he was like, no, nice. I want my jersey to be the number 8. I thought that was really, really nice. But just the fact that using her scene to kind of show all this stuff and remind people what has happened in previous seasons, because it's been 3 years. It's been a long time since we've watched a season of Stranger Things. So it doesn't hurt to get kind of a little bit of a recap while this is going on either,
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. Like, I think that scene in Dear Billy is just absolutely top notch. The build up to it is incredible, and I think Sadie Sink is doing an incredible job the whole way through in this season. Like, she's really, really carrying this season. By the way, the sound design in this entire show is absolutely top notch. The sound of that clock went with me in my dreams. Like, I was hearing that.
Oh,
yes, the downward kind of fucking. Oh, yeah, it was awesome. Before we do go, one other person that I really want to shout out is Maya Hawke. I think she's doing an incredible job in the show, man. She's not given so much to do. Like, she's not given like Sadie Sink level things, like levels of things to do, kind of thing. But like,
she got great character development.
she's
for sure.
incredibly likable, man. She's so fucking likable in this show. Like, she's really,
also hot as fuck.
she's a weird hot, right? Like, it's a weird, like, strange,
Nah,
like, it's a
she's
weird,
just a hot.
but she's 100% like got the charm and swagger and charisma from her parents, man. It's brilliant.
No, absolutely, and I think there's so much, especially when she starts getting these aggressive kind of lines of dialogues. Like, man, this is very Ethan Hawke, and then she has these moments of calm that remind me of Kill Bill and shit. I was like, man, that's just, oh my god, that's absolutely killer. But yeah, and I'm excited for the final 2 episodes of this season to come out. I think they're like an hour and a half and then 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Huge.
It's like 4 hours in 2 episodes. Which is basically
episode 8 is titled Papa, which kind of makes me wonder if there's like a little backstory given to Matthew Modine's character. But what more?
I wonder, probably.
Yeah.
If you have any predictions, what do you think is going to happen
At the end of the season or at the end of the show?
this season?
Okay. Well, someone's gonna die. I think it's Steve Harrington. I like, and it's not even like I kind of hope it's Steve Harrington. Like, this is because I really like Steve in this particular season as well. I think he's awesome, dude. Like, when he's like when they get to the Upside Down and like at the start of episode 7, and he's like swatting away those fucking bats, dude. I'm just like, yes, let's go. But I think he has to go. I think it makes perfect story sense for him to go, especially when Nancy's kind of like reconnecting with him, sort of thing. It makes perfect sense for there to be a tragedy right now. But when this season ends, I kind of wonder. I don't know. I need to know scale. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need to know what the scale of this is going to be. Like, are the Duffer Brothers going to go for a worldwide event of like the Upside Down is now breaching the entire world? Like, are we going to expand beyond the US? You know what I mean? I do like the idea that like wherever Vecna goes, there's a new portal being opened up, and we can kind of like go through those portals.
Right.
So yeah, look, I don't really know. I don't really have any strong predictions other than, like 11 has her powers back now. We know who Vecna is in terms of like, yes, it is one, but how does that help defeat him, sort of thing? So I don't really know. I'm kind of like in the dark about it, and I like that. I like that I don't really know. I like that I'm not able to predict it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think if anything happens, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody dies. I think that maybe I might be shooting my guns too early. I think that by the end of this season, maybe there will be an appearance from Terry Ives from 11's real mom. I think that's either going to happen by the end of the season or the end of the show. She's going to have to come back because they've been kind of flashing images of her this whole season. And no, we haven't seen her in person, but she definitely still has some kind of mental capabilities. Like, she's definitely still there. And I think she's in Hawkins. I don't know. She might not be. I can't remember. But I just remember 11 going to see her in season 2. And the second that 11 thought about her mom, she was finally able to send Vecna back. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of appearance from Terry Ives. It's almost like an Obi-Wan kind of like, use the full salute, like just something there. I definitely, I don't know if Vecna is going to be done after these next 2 episodes. I don't know. I think that if they do, they're going to get rid of him and focus on the Mind Flayer. But I definitely think someone's going to bite the dust, like you say. But I think at the same time, there might be, if I had to predict what's going to happen, it's that Chernobyl is going to be a cover-up incident for whatever happens in the Upside Down.
That'll be cool.
There's going to be some kind of like Russian war, with these things, and they're going to just say, hey, oh fuck, we had a nuclear, thing happen or something like that. But that's kind of my predictions, but I'm excited for where it's going, and I'm glad they're going to cap it off after the season, and let these young actors get some breathing room and not get typecast and maybe go do some other things.
Do you think we'll see Colleen again?
I hope so. I think it's interesting. She's the only living, brother or sister left of Eleven's, basically. Everyone else is dead except for Vecna. So I wonder if they're going to bring her back, or maybe she might come back next season. I wouldn't be surprised if for either or. And I don't really care.
Infamous episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah,
I think
the one episode she leaves and does something cool.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of talking about if Will's gay. I don't care. I mean, it's an interesting.
It's left ambiguous, and I don't mind it. I mean, I like, it's not really. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. I do care. Like Will did kind of bother me this season in terms of like, I feel like they're forgetting him a little bit. And I wonder if that's by design. Because I know the character feels that way, like he's being forgotten. But like, I just want to see more from Will, especially because he was such a crux of the first season and second season.
For sure. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they killed Will. Like, I'm not saying like, I don't think Netflix would let them do that, but story wise, it kind of makes sense. And they forgot, the Duffer Brothers came out and were like, yeah, we forgot Will's birthday, because a lot of people started noticing that when 11's being recorded at the Rinkorama, it says March 22nd, and that's Will's birthday. And the Duffer Brothers came out and were like, yeah, that's not intentional. Like, we fucked up. Like,
was that not intentional? Oh, because I've seen like memes of like, oh, check this out, it's his birthday, and that's why he's upset.
Right. And the thing is, though, if I were the Duffer Brothers, I would just come out and be like,
oh, yeah.
We were saving that for next season, but you guys were so good. You got it. Like, I would not have come out. I just would have rolled with it. But maybe
we're just putting too much credit in the Duffer Brothers, man. Like, I mean, look, they've created this pretty amazing show. For what, like, by the end of the season, it'll be 34 episodes long. And it's been pretty consistently good. So,
and part of me does go, it's like, man, something like Frasier or Family Guy, these sitcoms that run for 20 seasons. Sometimes you forget minor things about a character, but how do you forget a major character's birthday? That to me was just like, it's not like you had 200 episodes to go through. I get it. There's still a lot. It's like 50 hours of content to go through.
Right.
But still, though, man, like, you could have, I don't know, just should have just Googled a little bit more, my friend. But either way, guys, thanks so much for listening. We hope you guys are as excited for the last 2 episodes of season 4 as we are. Maybe we might come back and talk about those, do a little follow-up, do a little bonus stuff. I mean, there's like 4 hours of episodes to talk about, so I'm sure we get some kind of coverage in and follow up with it. But until then, guys, we really appreciate you guys listening. Zoheb, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming and talking to this about me. I know I usually itch very hard for Stranger Things, so thanks for scratching that for me.
No, it was a lot of fun, man. I think, we were well overdue for a Stranger Things episode, because how the fuck have we not done this already? So, yeah.
Right, exactly. So, guys, thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye!